My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. I'm going to break down the entire UFC 285 fight card, giving you my picks, my predictions, and my bets. But before we talk about UFC 285, let's talk about UFC Vegas 70, another very successful event for us, especially our premium members. We netted 1.8 units of profit. That's net. That's after you get all your money back on the bets. That's all the profit you put in your pocket. The premium member safety parlay continues to crush. That was almost a unit of net profit there. It was 0.9346. I only had a 2-leg parlay because I felt like that was a sketchy card. That crushed. UFC 285 has a 4-leg. It is up now if you want to check that out. If you have tailed every single premium member parlay, the safety parlay, if you've tailed every single one, the last 12 events, you would be up more than 21 units of net profit. The chart here is every single bet we put on the board. That dividing line is Jacob's bets on top, my bets on the bottom. I only missed the Dontel Mays bet. That's the only bet I missed. Yellow are bets that were refunded because the freaking main event was canceled. Either way, very, very successful event. Jacob lost 2 of his underdog picks to cancellations. His lock of the week, that fight was canceled. His backup lock of the week, Alan Perez, that fight was canceled. So his bets got a little screwy, but we are up 1.8 units of net profit. The safety parlay continues to be a massive success, so make sure you check that out. But we like to talk about the bets, right? Everybody wants to do the bets. Everybody wants to pay us $10 for premium and then pay their mortgage. And so far, that's been working. But there's also an incredible amount of fantasy content for premium members. On the left, this was our written breakdown. So we do full breakdowns for every single type of contest for DraftKings and FanDuel. The DraftKings content was fire, but I talk about DraftKings a lot. But the FanDuel content, we basically gave you an optimal lineup for GPP, even cash core as well. You can zoom in, check all that crap out, hit pause. Either way, the breakdown, the explanations, the price, all of that was absolutely spot on. And we had the best DraftKings ownership projections in the industry. Period. In the industry, we had a 3.78% margin. The next closest was 4.13%. And this is comparing us to the giant companies out there, like the roto grinders of the world. The number that we put out there for DraftKings ownership is a proprietary number. It is our number and only our number. We have multiple sources. We weight them against each other. We put all sorts of formulas and stuff together, and then we spit out our own unique number. I think this is the 3rd event in a row where we had the best DraftKings ownership projections. It's not even close. All of that for $10 a month. And the line movement tracker. So for $10 a month, you're going to get all of our bets, all of our picks, all of our raw notes, all of our fantasy plays. You're going to get DraftKings Optimizer. You're going to get a cheat sheet. You're going to get ownership projections. You're going to get a FanDuel cheat sheet. You're going to get ownership projections. And you're going to get this line movement tracker. This is another interesting card where we have a few that opened as favorites and will close as underdogs. A few of that. Check out the line movement tracker. Follow this throughout the week. Hop on or hop off a bandwagon. Follow that movement. WeWantPicks.com. Click become a member. It's $10 a month. A month. There's people out there charging $60 per event. We are $10 a month. We will always be $10 a month. And we have a massive surprise for you for UFC 285. It's not up yet, but it will be up. And once we release this next iteration of features and functionality, we're going to keep that price point where it is. There will be literally zero reason whatsoever to even entertain the idea of somebody else's premium. WeWantPicks.com. Become a member. It is $10 a month. And if you want $50, I literally pay out thousands of dollars a week. If you want $50, all you need to do is go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. We have 4 different sportsbook betting partners. If you use our link to create an account, sign up with a partner, and then you make a deposit, I send you $50 as a thank you. It's affiliate marketing. They're going to pay me, and then I'm going to share that money with you because we're building a community. We are all in this together. I'm trying to make money. You're trying to make money. We're all in this together. We're trying to beat the bookies. We're trying to put some money in our pockets, all while watching the sport that we love. WeWantPicks.com/bets. Use the link, sign up, make a deposit. I will send you $50 as a thank you. Let's go ahead and break this card down. This is an absolute killer killer pay-per-view card. The undercard crushes, the main card crushes. There's some obvious picks, but there's some very tricky ones as well. And opening up the UFC 285 card, we have Farid Basharat taking on Damon Blackshear. Farid Basharat is Javid Basharat's brother, and they have somewhat of a similar style, but I'm going to argue with you. I think Farid, this one, is the better striker. He's got a loose stance where he bounces on his toes. He throws lots of kicks. He's very mobile. He's constantly working from side to side. He does have that taekwondo stance. That is his background. And that can make him hittable at times, but for the most part, he moves well and he's defensively sound. He's a beast wrestler as well. And he'll use that wrestling for really well-timed takedowns, but lots of times just to keep that fight standing. All in all, he's well-rounded and he is definitely going to have some success in the UFC. Damon Blackshear is an athletic striker with impressive speed and power. He can grapple as well. We see that in his regional fights. If you go look at his CFFC title win, I nailed that. CFFC title win, he had a wild, very slick back take to get that done. But his losses are essentially grappling based. He's taken down, he's held down. He's coming off a draw in his short notice UFC debut fight against Youssef Zalal, where he won the first 2 rounds and gave up a 10-8 in the third, and that's how that ended up being a draw. Farid's striking is really impressive. He should absolutely win this fight. The one thing that worries me, though, is he can be hit. While I was breaking down tape, I was loving him. Like, this guy we're good here. And I'm thinking about the bets and what I'm going to do with him. And then I just saw a fight. He got cracked, dropped. Luckily, he shot in. He started to wrestle. He recovered. But it did spook me a little bit because Damon Blackshear's got some real power when he lets his hands go. Ultimately, Farid's going to win this fight. I think he can probably win wherever he wants to, but I'm always cautious with official UFC debuts like Farid Basharat. I know it's not Basharat. I'm saying it like Baccarat, like that old people game that has the checkers and stuff. Anyway, then we have Jessica Penne taking on Tabatha Ricci. This is a rebooked fight. This was originally scheduled for UFC Vegas 61. Penne pulled out, and now we have it rebooked. And what's always interesting about a rebooked fight is the sports books have a line. They open up a line. People pound it in one way or the other. The fight gets canceled. Sports books, they get all the money, they put all the money back. Then the fight gets rebooked a few months later. They put out a new line, lessons learned from the original one. First time around, Tabatha Ricci was a minus 150 favorite. She opened at a minus 240 favorite here. So obviously her line steamed last time. And the bookies were like, ooh, okay, I'm not going to make that mistake again. So she is a much larger favorite in the rebooking. Jessica Penne has been fighting since 2006. That's 16 years of experience. And during that time, she's picked up some skills along the way. She's pretty well-rounded. She's not great at any one thing, but she does have decent boxing, solid grappling. She had a four-year layoff, if you check out her Tapology there, in 2017, but she has come back. She got a couple of wins. Has a loss in the mix there as well, but style-wise, she likes to come forward, be technical. She wants to pressure you. If she can get a takedown, then great. But she's got a low 21% takedown accuracy. She went 0 for 8 in takedown attempts against Emily Ducote in a fight that she did lose. Tabatha Ricci is a very good grappler. She's always looking for a submission, but doesn't sacrifice position for the chase. She's very heavy on top with good pressure and control. She will ground and pound while on top, which then creates scrambles. It opens her opponents up, and then she'll work her submissions in from there. She made her UFC debut against Manon Fiorot. That was on short notice. That was a rough go. That's the one loss that we see here. But that was also at 125 pounds, where she really is a 115-pound fighter. Tabatha Ricci should absolutely dominate this fight. She's averaging almost 4 takedowns per fight. Penne's got a low 40% takedown defense. Penne's going to have the experience edge, the veteran savvy. She's going to be a bit bigger. Might be a little harder to take down, but I love Ricci in this spot. I think she's going to get the takedowns. I think she's going to get it done. I don't know if she's going to get the submission win because Jessica Penne is a veteran, right? It's not easy to put some of these people away, but I think there's levels to this. The line reflects that. I like Tabatha Ricci to win. I do have 1.5 units on her at minus 240. I'm very confident in her to get this done. Then we have Mana Martinez. He's taking on Cameron Saaiman. Mana Martinez is an aggressive striker. He's got solid power. He's always looking for a finish, and he switches his stance often. and that can make things a little difficult for his opponents. He also has solid counter-striking and some very real power. He's got a great knockout win over last night's lock of the week, Jose Johnson. That fight was canceled, but great knockout win over him a few years ago. Jose threw a lazy jab, and Mana just went right over the top with a big right hand and just one punch knocked him out. He is coming off that win over Brandon Davis where he had 2 knockdowns and a takedown. Cameron Saaiman is a fun technical striker who can grapple if he needs to. He does a great job stepping into combinations and then finishing them with leg kicks. And just when you think you have him figured out, right? You think you have his striking cadence down. You think you know where he's going to go. He's just going to start spinning. He's going to work in some spinning attacks. He'll even drop down and shoot a double leg. He doesn't really have incredible power, but he's fast, accurate, and he's relentless enough to get it done. He's coming off that win over Steven Koslow where he was taken down 5 times, but he managed to pull off a late 3rd round knockout. Mana is a very large plus 210 underdog right now, and I really don't know why. He's more dangerous fighter in this matchup. He has the raw power. We know after his Ronnie Lawrence fight that he's an absolute dog with no quit in him whatsoever. And we know that while he is undefeated still, Cameron Saaiman is untested. I think we will find out how good Cameron is or is not in this fight. And I don't think it's going to be the answer a lot of people think it's going to be. I like Mana in this fight. I think his power, the dog in him, I think that's going to be impressive. The odds are scaring me, though. I hate knowing odds when I break down fights because it whether you want it to influence you or not, it does. And I was like, oh, I think Mana's going to win this fight. Then I see the odds. And I'm like, what don't I know? What am I missing here? So I haven't done anything yet. I might just throw $20 at him. For me, a unit's 100, so $20 is 0.2. I might just throw $20 at him at the plus 210 odds, or wait till Tuesday for some of those safety prop bets to drop, like inside the distance, decision, no action, because Cameron's not very dangerous, and Mana Martinez is stupid tough. So if you're going to get Mana Martinez at wins inside the distance, decision, no action, you might still get that at some solid plus money if he's a plus 210 underdog. So if you're a premium member, make sure you have your Discord linked so that you will get alerts. Those props drop on Tuesdays, sometimes Mondays for larger cards. The second they drop, we start attacking the bets that make sense for us. We put those in the premium alerts channel in Discord, and you will just, you'll get those alerts. I turn the phone that's not in my hand towards the camera. You'll get those alerts on your phone instantly so you can pound those lines before they move as well. If you're not a premium member, sign up now. WeWantPicks.com. It's freaking $10. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore here. And if you are a premium member, just link your Discord. It costs nothing. The Discord is free. The premium alerts channel is closed to premium members only, and that's how you're going to get the alerts on your phone. So do those things. Keep an eye out. I'm probably going to go that route with Mana Martinez, because he should be tough enough to survive if he's on the wrong side of a decision, and he is definitely the more dangerous of the two to get it done. Then we have Ian Garry taking on a Kenan Song. Ian Garry is an active guy. This is going to be his 4th fight in basically a year. He's a solid striker. He's got crazy hand speed, fantastic footwork. He is hittable at times, but he lands an impressive 6 significant strikes per minute, and he has solid enough takedown defense to keep fights standing. While he does have power, it's not really like the one-punch knockout power. It's more of the timing and speed that catches his opponents off guard. He's coming off that decision win over Gabe Green where he almost doubled Gabe's strikes, and he did have a takedown and a knockdown. Kenan Song is coming back after almost 2 years away. Style-wise, he's a very powerful striker with some pretty poor wrestling. Unlike Garry, though, Kenan does have just one-punch sleep you power, but he doesn't have the cleanest technique. He can be beat with pressure and control, but if you do give him space, he's going to throw heavy and touch you up. His takedown defense is not very good, but he remains composed. He continues to work back to his feet where he is most comfortable. And this is an interesting matchup for Ian because the UFC seemed to be slowly increasing Ian's level of difficulty, right? They gave him Gabe Green, who's a tough opponent, and that was a step up from his previous opponent. But this Kenan Song fight feels like it's a step down. This seems like a much easier fight than his last few fights. And I get it. Kenan is very dangerous on his feet, but that is the only danger, right? He's not a threat to wrestle. If Ian gets into any trouble, he can wrestle and exploit Kenan's lack of takedown defense. So while Ian can be hit at times, and he's definitely pretty unlikable on the microphone. He is a fun guy. I like his style. He should absolutely dominate this fight. He is sitting at a minus 600 favorite. That is a bit steep for a guy as hittable as Ian, but I'm still very confident that Ian Garry's going to get this done. Then we have another interesting matchup. We've got Julian Marquez taking on Marc-Andre Barriault. Julian Marquez is a pretty well-rounded guy. He's got solid chin. He's incredibly tough, but he does fade later in fights. All 9 of his wins are by stoppage, and they're a mixed bag of knockouts and submissions. He doesn't typically work for takedowns and find submissions, but he more snatches them up in scrambles. He's very dangerous everywhere, but he is coming off that knockout loss to Gregory Rodriguez last year. Marc-Andre Barriault is also a well-rounded fighter. He's got solid kickboxing and takedowns. His jiu-jitsu is solid, but his takedowns can definitely use a little bit of work. Marc-Andre is typically looking to pressure forward and wear you down on your feet. He has impressive striking volume with almost 6 significant strikes landed per minute, but he's also hit with almost 5. And he's coming off the submission loss to Fluffy Hernandez about 5 months ago. This is one of the closest fights on this card. Both guys are well-rounded. Both are dangerous. I like Julian to win. I do think he's going to win this fight. I think he's a slight underdog right now. This line's going to keep, flip-flopping, I imagine. I think Julian's going to have more power. I think he's going to have the better chin. I think he's overall the more dangerous guy. Marc-Andre can be sloppy at times when coming forward, and Julian just has a knack for finding his footing in those exchanges. So Julian's the pick. This should be a really fun fight. No bet for me here, but Jacob does have a bet on this fight already. So if you're a premium member, go to the betting section, click on Jacob's bets. He's got some money going on this one. I don't. I'm a little more conservative than Jakey Boy. Then we have Viviane Araujo taking on Amanda Ribas. Viviane Araujo is a grappler. She's very comfortable striking as well, though. She has technical boxing, great low kicks, but she does get hit pretty often, and she has a negative striking differential. She's athletic, fast, and she's always looking for a finish, both standing and on the ground, but conditioning can be an issue for her in the later rounds because of that constant pressure she fights with. She averages over 2 takedowns per fight with a 48% takedown offense and a very impressive 90% takedown defense. Amanda Ribas is a pretty complete fighter herself. She started her career as a grappler, but then she added striking, and now she's comfortable everywhere. Her striking stats are fantastic. She's got that 4-2 striking differential and a 70% striking defense. And to top that off, her takedown defense is also very solid at 88%. She's got plenty of cardio, and outside of that Marina loss, she's very tough. She's coming off that split decision loss to Katlyn Chookagian, where a lot of people think she won that fight. And this is a solid matchup between 2 really well-rounded women who were 1 or 2 wins away from a title shot, right? Both of them have losses to Katlyn Chookagian that, frankly, should have been wins. I think they both won those fights. Both of them average more than 2 takedowns per fight, and both of them are landing more than 4 significant strikes per minute. They are very evenly matched here. I think the difference between these 2 women are going to be slight. Araujo should be bigger and stronger, where Ribas should be faster and can carry that cardio pace later into the fight. And to me, that is actually going to be the difference between winning and losing. I think Amanda's 15 minutes of pressure and cardio are going to be what gets her the decision here. So she might struggle with the takedowns because Araujo's bigger and has a very solid takedown defense. So I think she's going to need to stay moving on her feet, constantly throwing the strikes out there, and avoid being held against the cage. But I think she will do that, and I think she'll cruise to a win. The best bet here is definitely going to be that this fight goes to a decision. We had a lot of success betting. I bet 3 different round lines at UFC Vegas 70. We hit all of them. One of them was a parlay. I took Charles Johnson, Ode Osborne over 1.5, and I parlayed that with Jasmine Jasudavicius and Gabriela Fernandez over 2.5. This is going to be a similar. This is going to be a juice line. This is not going to be the over 2.5 on this fight is going to be probably minus 250 or something like that. We'll grab that. We'll parlay it with another one. Keep an eye on that. Again, if you're a premium member, link your Discord so that as soon as I drop that, you'll go ahead and get that alert on your phone and you can tail it if you want to. Then we have a very interesting fight, a controversial fight. I see the arguments in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, join. It's free. There's a link in this description. There's a giant button at the top of our webpage to join. The Discord is 100% free. Lots of debate with Derek Brunson and Dricus du Plessis. Derek Brunson's a dominant wrestler, at least the last couple of fights. His striking continues to improve. He's mixing in his wrestling really well. He has some power when he threatens the takedowns, but he's 39 years old, and his chin is a little worrisome. He does have 23 takedowns in his last 6 fights. He's likely going to lean on that wrestling here. 3 of those takedowns did come in his last fight against Jared Cannonier, where he ended up getting finished in the second round. Dricus du Plessis is a very good striker. He can work in takedowns as well. He's exciting to watch because of his explosiveness and his incredible leg kicks. He's very good grappler as well. He hunts for submissions. He looks for stoppages on the ground. I don't know why this is my speaking cadence right now. I think it's because I'm not a big Dricus fan. But he is coming off that win over Darren Till, where he had 3 takedowns and a 3rd round submission win. Full disclosure, I think Dricus is overrated. I think he's overrated. Even in that Darren Till fight, that should have been a mauling, and it wasn't. That second round was close. It looked like Darren Till was going to win in that second round. The fact that Darren Till actually took Dricus down and had a reversal. Darren Till, who has the wrestling acumen of my 6-year-old daughter, took Dricus du Plessis down and won a scramble to get the reversal in that fight. Logic would tell you if Darren Till, with his DUI and his swollen face, could take down Dricus du Plessis, then Derek Brunson is going to do it all day long. And when I first saw these odds drop a few weeks ago, I was surprised that Darren Till was such a big underdog. I was like, oh shit, should I hit this line? Like, he's a big underdog. And if he wrestles, he should be able to get this done. But then, the more you break down, the more you look at it, Derek is 39 years old, coming out a knockout loss in a fight that could look exactly like this one. He could get a couple of takedowns early and then get blasted in the second, blasted in the third. So I'm going to go against my heart. I'm going to pick the overrated Dricus du Plessis to win because I'm not sure that Derek Brunson can fight a perfect fight to avoid the knockout. And that's what he would need 15 minutes of wrestling, 15 minutes of protecting his chin to get it done. At 39 years old, after the flatline loss a couple months ago, I can't do it. Dricus du Plessis the pick here. I don't have a bet. Jacob does. Check out what Jacob's got going on in this fight. I think he's got a couple of things going on with this fight. If you're a premium member, again, WeOwnPicks.com, become a premium member for $10. But once you're in there, click on bets. You'll see mine. You'll see Jacob's. You'll see the premium parlay. You'll see that line movement tracker. You'll even see future bets. Jacob's got a couple of future bets going as well. He's got some action on this fight. I do not. Then we have a featured prelim fight. Interesting fight. Anytime Cody Garbrandt fights, it's entertaining. And he's taking on Trevin Jones. Cody Garbrandt, he's the former champion. He's struggling to keep his career alive, but he is the former champion of this weight class. He's a phenomenal boxer with fantastic footwork and some very real power. When he is on, he is unbeatable. He beat Dominic Cruz to win the belt with great footwork, clean striking, and the threat of wrestling. But when he's off, he's just throwing wild punches and just putting his chin out there, begging to get hit. And unfortunately for him, his chin just cannot hold up. And the fact that he's 31 was shocking to me when I did this graphic. I thought Cody Garbrandt was like 36, the way that he's been sort of used and abused these last few years. Trevin Jones is a fun striker with a ton of power. He throws everything with 100% and bad intentions. He's not the most technical striker, but if he's losing the striking exchanges, he can lean on his BJJ black belt. He's a very well-rounded guy. He can be low volume. He can be gun shy. He's coming off that loss to Hani Barcelos, where he landed an embarrassing 15 total strikes over the course of that fight. And the odds on this fight are interesting to me because Cody is sitting at a minus 170 favorite. And if you look at his raw skill set, his championship resume, I get it. It's Cody Garbrandt. His win over Dominic Cruz was an impressive one. But if you actually look at his body of work over the last 6 years, those odds do not make any sense. Cody's got no chin left whatsoever, and he beat Dominic Cruz. I get it. He won the belt against an all-timer, but he has lost 5 fights since then, and he looked terrible in every single one of them. I think this fight should be a closer to even fight. Anybody trusting Cody Garbrandt's chin with their money doesn't respect money. Cody should be more technical. He's the better fighter. He is absolutely the better fighter. He should be more active. He'll have the better footwork. He'll be faster. He'll be the better fighter. But Trevin's got the death touch, and Cody's got no chin whatsoever. So I'm not going to pick Trevin Jones because I'm not going to pick a guy who's very low volume, and I'm just on a hope and a prayer that he lands the big one. Cody Garbrandt's going to be the pick because he is literally the better fighter in every aspect of this. But that dude has no chin whatsoever fighting a guy who has some very real power. Cody's the pick. He should tuck the chin, dance around, use that incredible footwork. I mean, look at Trevin Jones' negative striking differential. He gets hit 4.96 with 4.96 significant strikes per minute. Cody can exploit that. Cody should win this fight. Not touching it. I'm not betting on this fight. I'm not touching it. I don't even care what the props are. There is not anything that will make sense for me to spend money here. You should do the same. Cody should win this fight. I hope Cody wins this fight, but you can't trust that guy with your money. And it's not even like he's doing anything wrong. It's not like you can't trust him because he makes bad decisions. You can't trust him because his chin is gone. And it is what it is. Next up, we got Bo Nickal taking on Jamie Pickett. A very interesting fight. The main card opener, Bo Nickal, who only has 3 professional fights, is being fast-tracked to a major pay-per-view main card. He's a big-time wrestling standout. He has multiple Division I national championships, as well as world championships. He's an incredible wrestler who has transitioned to MMA and taken those skills with him. His style is pretty obvious. Strike as little as possible, work in takedowns, get that jiu-jitsu going. He's got 3 professional fights with 3 stoppages. He's 2-0 on the Contender Series and has fought less than 2 full minutes. He comes in, immediately gets takedowns, and immediately starts working his submissions. This will be by far his most experienced and his best opponent to date. Jamie Pickett is a solid striker who uses his length to manage range and to try to keep people at bay. If you look at the stats, he has a 3 to 4 striking differential, so he is hit more than he hits his opponents, and that is 100% because he's gun shy. He doesn't let his hands go like he should, and it can be frustrating to watch at times because you know he's the better striker in most matchups. He's just not throwing punches. He has a 65% takedown defense. He's going to need every single bit of that in this fight. Listen, Bo's the pick here. He has to be the pick here. His wrestling is absolutely next level, and Jamie has shown that he gets taken down somewhat easily. I don't even think Jamie should be training wrestling. Forget it. You're never going to close that gap here, ever. So don't even do that. I think he should plant his feet, be ready with uppercuts and knees, and just bomb. Just absolutely bomb. Like, if you want to get close to me, I'm throwing everything at you, and you will have to come through hell to get to my legs to take me down. That's what I think he needs to do. What he's actually going to do is be so afraid of takedowns, he's going to throw almost no punches, throw a knee that goes nowhere, thinking that he's George Masvidal with Ben Askren. He's going to get taken down. He's going to get submitted. Bo Nickal's going to win this fight. He's going to win it inside the distance. The problem is he's a minus 1,800 favorite. I don't think there's any bets that are going to make sense. We don't have props yet, but Bo Nickal to win inside the distance is still going to be minus 700, minus 800, if not worse than that. There's no bets that make sense for the money. These odds are just absolutely stupid nuts. So it is what it is. Don't even parlay them. Don't parlay minus 1,800. If you get a minus 600 on Bo Nickal inside the distance, you can parlay that. Don't touch these minus 1,800 odds. And depending when you're watching this, we don't have prop bets just yet. Then we got Mateusz Gamrot stepping up on somewhat short notice, right? I think it's maybe it's a month. So it's short notice, but it's not like 2 weeks. And he's taking on Jalen Turner. Mateusz Gamrot's a nasty wrestler. He's got some solid striking, a pretty diverse set of attacks. He doesn't have incredible power, but he is busy and has a handful of stoppages on his resume. He knocked out Scott Holtzman. He did that with speed and volume. And then he knocked out Diego Ferreira with a really well-timed knee. Essentially, Gamrot's going to be able to out-wrestle almost everybody in the division who's not named Beneil Dariush. And he also has the ability to hang on the feet. He sets a relentless pace, and even when he's knocked down, which is more often than you like, he immediately is working into a wrestling pace. He's coming off that loss to Dariush where he had 4 takedowns, but he lost a close decision. Jalen Turner is a good boxer who somehow manages to come forward and fight at range at the exact same time. He is an incredible 6 feet 3 inches tall for this weight class, and he's one of the few people that actually manages range well. Even though he's known as a striker, 3 of his last 4 wins are by submission, which shows just how well-rounded he is. He's coming off that submission win over Brad Riddell, where he sucked up a guillotine. Brad Riddell shot a takedown. Brad Riddell, this world champion striker, shooting takedowns, guillotine, done. Jalen Turner gets that win. Gamrot, I mentioned, stepping up on short notice because Dan Hooker is out with an injury. And frankly, I don't know why Jalen Turner accepted this fight. He went from a striker versus striker matchup where he was going to beat the brakes off of Dan Hooker to fighting one of the toughest guys in the division who's going to be looked to nonstop take him down. Jalen has a 77% takedown defense, but he was taken down by Jamie Malarkey, Brock Weaver, and Matt Frivola 4 times in a loss. Gamrot should absolutely be able to come forward, get the takedowns, avoid the danger on his feet. I love Gamrot in this spot. I have a 1.5 unit bet on him. I also loved him against Beneil Dariush, so I might look pretty stupid here again. But Beneil Dariush's takedown defense in his fight against Gamrot was the most impressive takedown defense I have ever seen. Ever. Jalen Turner does not have that takedown defense. Gamrot should be able to come in, set that pace, get the takedowns, get it going, and win this fight just by being an 8th layer of skin, essentially. Then we got Jeff Neal taking on Shavkat Rakhmonov. This is another rebooked fight. This was supposed to be in January. It's been rebooked, and it sucks. I mentioned earlier when we talked about Jessica Penne, Tabatha Ricci, the bookies learn. They put out a line. I hammered Shavkat Rakhmonov at the I think it was like minus 310 or something like that. Hammered that line. Had a couple of units on. I was loving life. And then that fight got dropped. Now it's rebooked, and boom. Shavkat Rakhmonov minus 500. I get it. And that's where it should be. Frankly, we just got lucky the first time around when the bookies made that mistake. Anyway, Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal's a very good striker with very real power. He's got solid volume, solid takedown defense. He's not the most technical, but with his power and aggression, he doesn't always need to be. Jeff likes to dictate the pace. He likes to dictate the range and the exchanges. If he can stay at that long kickboxing range and use those kicks to set up punches, he can have some success. But if you get in his face, you tie him up, he gets frustrated, he gets exhausted. He's coming off that win over Vicente Luque, though, where he looked good early. He started the fade, but he still got it done with a nice knockout. Shavkat Rakhmonov is a special kind of guy. He's one of those guys that when you watch him fight, you know he's going to do things in this sport. He's 16-0 with a 100% finish rate. He's knocking people out on his feet. He's taking them down. He's submitting people. He's jumping guillotine, and he's getting those. He can win a fight anywhere he wants to. He's hard to hit. He's got a ton of power. He's got solid defense, wrestling, judo. He's active. He's all the things. He's coming off the absolute destruction of Neil Magny, where he had 2 takedowns, 9 minutes of control, and then a submission. Shavkat's on an entirely different level here. He can do whatever he wants in this fight. There is no reason to overcomplicate this again. I see forward pressure, takedowns, and a stoppage. Even at the minus 500 where he sits now, I think he's safe for parlays. Don't go parlaying him with Bo Nickal. You're not going to get your money there, but he should be safe for parlays. I like Shavkat Rakhmonov here, and you're definitely going to see some action on the premium bets with Shavkat. We got the co-main event. Valentina Shevchenko taking on Alexa Grasso. Valentina Shevchenko is one of the greatest fighters on the planet, regardless of division, regardless of gender. She won the belt in 2018. She has defended it 7 times since then. She's a phenomenal striker, very good grappler, has true championship composure and mindset. Her striking is the best in any division. She's very technical. She has enough power combined with technique that she's putting people away. These last few years, we have seen her game evolve, right? She's mixing in judo now, trip takedowns. She has 21 takedowns in her last 5 fights, including 3 against Taila Santos in a split decision that a lot of people think Valentina lost. Alexa Grasso is a fun striker with impressive volume and takedown defense. She's listed at 64% takedown defense, but even Carla Esparza, who's probably a top 3 wrestler in the division, only went 4 for 11 against her. Every time I say her freaking name, I have a Sonos Move speaker that has Alexa built into it. So every time I break down this damn fight, that thing goes bananas. Anyway, Alexa stays busy, landing more than 5 significant strikes, per minute and moves really well. She has absolutely no problem slugging it out in the pocket. And while she does have power, it's not fight-ending power. She's 4-0 at her new weight class of 125 pounds after moving up from 115, and that has earned her this title shot. This is a great spot for Valentina. She's coming off that really close fight with Taila Santos, which may have woken her up a bit, right? She might have gotten a little too comfortable just beating on people. She's a minus 600 favorite in this fight, and frankly, it should be wider than that. Valentina's going to be bigger, stronger. She'll have better striking. She'll have better takedowns. Honestly, she can win this fight wherever she wants to. Alexa is very good, but unlike Taila, she's undersized. She's not dangerous. So Valentina's the easy pick here, even at minus 600. Again, she's a pretty safe parlay piece. You guys are going to say Taila almost beat Valentina, blah, blah, blah. Taila and Grasso are not the same. They are not the same. There's no real threats to Valentina in this fight. So Valentina's going to win this, and I'm very confident in that. And frankly, minus 600 feels like a discount because that last fight was so close. Then we have one of the most exciting main events I can think of. I am more excited for this main event than I have been in a very, very long time. There are so many questions coming into this. I'm so pumped for this fight. We have Jon Jones coming back after 3 years away to take on Ciryl Gane. And Jon Jones, without question, is the light heavyweight GOAT, potentially the greatest of all time in all of MMA history. He's literally great everywhere. He has beaten more Hall of Famers than anybody else in UFC history. He is still the youngest champion of all time. Well, I mean, he's not young anymore, but you get what I'm saying. The youngest champion of all time. And even though you see a loss on his record, that was a DQ. It was an illegal elbow in a fight that he was just dominating. The referee got power hungry. He has never lost a fight. Stats-wise, Jon is impressive. He has more than a 4-2 striking differential with a very solid 64% striking defense. And keep in mind, he has done that fighting the best on planet Earth for a very long time. He's a JUCO national champion wrestler, and he even out-wrestled Daniel Cormier, the Olympian, in their matchups. Jon Jones is great at everything except being a decent person, right? He's kind of a trash person, but he is an incredible athlete and an incredible fighter. He's taking on Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane's a technical striker. He has high volume and a well-rounded arsenal. He's going to kick. He can grapple at times. He'll play the best in and out footwork game in heavyweight history. His striking differential is a very impressive 5-2, which speaks to how incredible his footwork and movement really is. He also uses that footwork to set up the occasional takedown. He took down Dontel Mays 3 times, Rosenstruck twice, and even Ngannou once. If we learned anything from that Ngannou fight, it's that Ciryl can be out-wrestled, and he was a bit exposed there. He's coming off the one-sided bounce-back win, though, over Tai Tuivasa, where he had incredible kicks. He was hit once. It did get dicey, but he worked through it and just beat the piss out of everybody's favorite fighter, Tai Tuivasa. Again, this is one of the best main events in a very long time. There's so many questions. I cannot wait for this fight. We have no idea what Jon Jones is going to look like after 3 years away. I have no idea what he's going to look like at heavyweight. If he wins, I think we all agree he's unanimously the greatest fighter to ever do it, ever. According to the odds, a lot of you think he is going to win. When this fight dropped a few months ago, Jon Jones opened as a plus money underdog. That has steamed. He is now a minus 160 favorite. And I can talk myself in and out of anything in this fight. The reality is that while Jon Jones is probably the greatest fighter of all time, his last 2 fights were terrible. He looked like shit. 3 years ago, he looked awful against Dominic Reyes. You guys were screaming and yelling that he lost that fight. He had 2 takedowns, but he had 7 takedowns stuffed. He landed fewer total strikes, fewer significant strikes. A lot of people think Reyes won that fight, and Reyes has been knocked out 3 times since then. So now Jon Jones is 3 years removed from a horrible fight against the guy who's about to be cut, and he's almost a 2-1 favorite over the best heavyweight striker in the division. I don't truly get that line movement. I want Jon Jones to win this fight. I would love if he showed up and absolutely destroyed Ciryl Gane. I want nothing more than that. But I think he's going to look old I think he's going to look a little slow. And if he doesn't full out wrestle, I think he's going to have a tough time with the striking. I have no idea what to do with this fight. I really don't. I'm not betting on this fight. I'm not confident. I get the people who bet Jon Jones at plus money. I get it. You said, hey, this is the greatest of all time. How could I not put money on him at plus? I do understand that. I don't get the people betting on him at minus 160. You're going to tell yourself, Francis Ngannou out-wrestled Ciryl. Jon Jones should be able to do the same. The trap with that logic, and maybe it's not wrong. Maybe that's what's going to happen. The trap with that logic is, I guarantee Ciryl Gane had zero clue that Francis Ngannou was going to wrestle. Zero clue. Probably trained no wrestling whatsoever, was not prepared for it, completely caught off guard. Where his coach has said many times in this camp, Jon Jones is going to wrestle. That is his plan A, and we are prepared for that. Jacob keeps talking about Jon Jones' number one training partner in this camp is Dontel Mays, who we all just saw take an absolute shit in the middle of the octagon last night. I have to pick Ciryl Gane here. Everything in me wants Jon Jones to win for two reasons. One, we've all seen his entire career. I love it. I love it. I love greatness, and this guy is great. Two, if Ciryl Gane wins, the UFC doesn't have the best heavyweight on the planet. Francis Ngannou would be the best heavyweight unanimously, and he left. If Jon Jones wins, well, now we have some really fun arguments. Is Jon Jones the best heavyweight on the planet? I want to have that argument with people. I'm rooting for Jon Jones. I want Jon Jones to win. I want him to be incredible. Let's mix up this heavyweight division. But I think Ciryl Gane's going to get it done. I think Jon Jones is going to look old. I think he's going to look slow. And he's finally going to look like a human being. Dude has 14 title defenses. Nobody will ever come close to that number ever again. But I sort of think that ends here. Guys, become a premium member. It's $10 a month. It's $10 a month. Like, honestly, what are we doing? The safety part, I could shut everything down on premium membership except the safety parlay, and you'd be up 21 units in the last 12 events. You bet the safety parlay every single event, the last 12 events, you're up 21 units. That covers that $10, period. But you're also going to get tools like the line movement tracker, like the DraftKings optimizer. You're going to get ownership, which I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Our DraftKings ownership was literally the best in the industry, period. End of story. You're going to get all sorts of tools, all sorts of picks, bets, safety parlay, DraftKings optimizer, DraftKings rankings, write-ups, FanDuel rankings, write-ups. You're going to get so much content. It's unbelievable. And we have a massive surprise for you. I don't want to announce it now because it's not ready yet, but we have a massive surprise for all the data nerds out there that want a little more data. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It's $10 a month. And as always, if you want $50, just go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Use our link to sign up with any one of our sportsbook partners. Make a deposit. I send you $50 as a thank you. It's very simply affiliate marketing. They're going to pay me. I'm going to slice off a piece of that, and I'm going to give it back to you as a thank you because I care about this community. I'm growing this community. And Twitter might have decided that they don't like me, but I know you do, especially if I pay you to be my friend. WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up, make a deposit. I will send you $50